Hi guys, so today I want to do a bit of a color lesson with you. Some of you have already learned some of these things, but I want to do a review for some of you, and for those of you who don't know much about color, today's your day. So we know our color wheel. We know that the colors in the color wheel go around in a pattern where they go well together. So for instance, if we have a yellow, we know that blending an orange or blending a green is going to give us good colors because those go well together. So for instance, if we wanted to do a green grass and we wanted to show variety in color, adding colors that are closer to the green are going to give us a good color variation and a good blend of colors, so that we know that that's the grass. So those are the colors you would want to blend together. If you try and blend green with purple, what ends up happening is you get a shadow tone. So anytime you have a color and you look at the opposite side of that color, it's going to be the shadow. So if you had an orange shirt on and you're looking at between the armpit and the arm, you would see a shadow, right? Because it causes a crease. So if we mix blue with the orange, we would get a good shadow tone. But you wouldn't want to mix blue with orange to get a nice vibrant tone, because it's going to make it dark and muddy. It only works well for a shadow. If you wanted to show color variety with your orange, you would then add other reds or yellows to your orange to create variety. So the first rule with color is the primary colors. You might have heard of these before in elementary school. Primary colors are the colors that can be mixed together to make any other color in the color wheel. Our primary colors are blue, red, and yellow. Blue, red, and yellow. And we know that if we mix yellow with red, we get the oranges. If we mix red with blue, we get the purples. And if we mix yellow with blue, we get the greens, right? That's the way the color wheel works. So those are our primary colors. Then we have something called secondary colors. And these are the colors that the primary colors can make. So we have the secondary color orange, green, and purple. And if we go back to our color wheel, we'll see we first have our primaries, right? Blue, yellow, and red. And then we have our secondary colors orange, purple, and green. And you can get these colors in different variations. The primary colors are always going to be the same, but you can get a lighter orange, you can get a darker green. It just depends on how you mix them. The third thing that we need to know is the complementary colors. So the complementary colors are, like we spoke about, they are colors that go together to create a shadow, or that go together and sit next to each other and they create a nice balance, a nice pop in color. So our secondary colors are literally taking the primary colors and the secondary colors and halving them. So if I take my blue, I know that the secondary color that goes with blue is orange. Look how nice that orange looks next to the blue, right? So the blue is the primary and the orange is the secondary, and together they are complementary. They are complements. They complement each other. The complement to the primary color red is green, and the complementary color to yellow is purple. And this doesn't change. This is the rule. This is the rule in art. So we know that those are the complementary colors to each of the primary, right? And why we need to know this is because, like we said, if you're drawing a shirt and your shirt is orange and you need to show a shadow in that shirt, you would use the complement, the blue, to show that shadow when mixed with the orange. That would show a shadow tone. Also, if we just put them right next to each other, so say you were wearing an orange shirt and you wanted to put a blue background behind the shirt, that would really make the shirt pop forward. You will often see with sports teams, they will put these colors next to each other because they know that they work well together, they complement each other. So for instance, you know that the Minnesota Vikings, they use purple and yellow, right? So those colors work well together. So just one more time, we have our primaries, blue, red, yellow. We have our secondaries, orange, green, and purple. And then we have our complementary colors, and those are blue and orange, red and green, yellow and purple. So if we take this concept and we look at what we learned for some of my classes with shadow and light, let's do it again. So we draw a circle representing a ball, right? And we color that very lightly with the orange, and we follow the form when we color things in. Remember, we learned about that in most of our classes. Okay, so there's our orange ball, and now the sun is here. Remember when we did it in black and white with our pencils, we showed where the sun was coming from so that we could show value, right? So the sun is going to hit here, and this area is going to be lighter, so we add a little bit of yellow, right? And that's following the color wheel because yellow is right next to orange on the color wheel, so we know it's going to blend nicely together. But now we know that the sun doesn't hit the whole ball, right? It's going to become shaded at the bottom of the ball here. So we will get a little bit of a reflection of the orange in the shadow. But now we can go and we can use the complementary, right? So the complement to orange is blue, like we said. So we can bring this blue in here and we can create a lovely dark shadow. And blending those colors together gives us a realistic looking three-dimensional ball. So now we can bring our orange on top, and we learned with pencil crayons you can layer, and layering gives you a lovely effect. And so to layer one on top of each other again and again, we are creating a blend in our ball. So now we can see we have a lovely three-dimensional ball using the correct color usage. We've now learnt that we can use our primary and our secondary colors to create a complementary color. So for my 8th graders who are drawing biology sketches right now, biology illustrations, think about if you're doing a mushroom or if you're doing a crab, how you can use your complementary colors to add shadows. Decide on a light source, and that's really going to help you make things look more realistic and more three-dimensional. We can also, if we don't want to use the complement, we can also use like colors on the color wheel. So for instance, if I wanted to do an orange ball but I didn't want to show blue shadow, you could approach it with like colors on the color wheel, and I'll show you how you do that. So same concept, you just draw your ball like this. Right, we decide where the sun is. And we know that orange and yellow go well together because they're close to each other on the color wheel, so they are like colors. But now we want to create a shadow, and we don't want to use the complement. So what color can we use? Well, we go back to our color wheel and we look and we see orange is here. What is a nice dark color that we can use with orange? Well, we can use kind of a red because that's closer to the color on the color wheel. So here, if we put a red down, we get a shadow, but it's much more light. It's not as intense as if we were to add the blue. So you get a different type of shadow. And when you use this concept together with the concept of using a complement, you get a really, really realistic drawing. So now that we've also added the red, if I decide, no, wait, I also want to add the complement to make it look more realistic, I can do that. So now I know that the complement to orange is still blue, and when I bring that blue in, wow, look at that. That is a very realistic effect on how you would actually see an orange, the fruit, in real life. If you saw an orange and it was sitting on the kitchen table and the window was open over here, the shadow would be this color. And then we can come in again with the orange and neaten it up and blend it with our layering that we learned about. So carry this lesson with you for the rest of your life, and know that you have colors that go together on the color wheel to make things appear realistic. We have primary colors. Don't forget these. We have secondary colors. Don't forget those. And we have complementary colors. If you can remember these three things, your artwork will look better for the future. I hope this was helpful, guys. That's your color lesson.